No, we can't pull it off now. At this point, we can't. Oh gosh. Hey everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Adobe Office
Welcome.
Hours. Nick and I, we got the giggles. We got the giggles like as it was going. So if you heard any giggling happening during the intro,
He's all, let's go live, and then I did something stupid with moving the mic and made note. I make noises every time.
Very true. So thank you. Welcome. Hi. This is Office Hours. This is a show where we help you level up your professional careers. We give you some advice and some perspective and hang out. My name is Andrew Hochradel, and over here to my left or right, whichever way you're looking at it,
I'm Nick Longo. Welcome back, guys.
That's
We're
right.
early today, too.
Yes, and yes, Cody says that we did hear we did hear it. Sorry.
Yes, so Kyle is
Yeah. If you want the bonus content, like the DVD extras, tune in right at the beginning or at the end of this show, and you'll get little tidbits because it always happens. Yes, we are at 1 o'clock. This is our new time. We're here.
Yeah.
This is our new time. We're moved up to 1 o'clock. And I believe Kyle's masterclass is starting back up next week. We're working on moving some things around, getting some new times. So we're here 1 o'clock, and this is our new zone. So thanks for hanging out. If you did miss it and you're watching this after the fact, hi, we're at 1 o'clock now. And someone is new to Office Hours. Nick, what's this show about? Why should they stick around?
What's up, man?
What's up?
Gosh, we are a unique little stream here, right? We are here to kind of help you guys kind of up level all of your portfolios, your case studies, give you guidance and suggestions. And we've turned it actually into a whole fall semester this year. And we are doing great exercises, lectures, giving you homework, but more importantly, just a cool place to hang out on Friday.
Totally. And if you guys want to get more connected, you can, two options, go down here to Adobe Office Hours, bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours. That's where you can get some of the content, look at the syllabus, and some extra bonuses. And you also can go over here. Got it. And that's our Discord. So our Discord is full of all kinds of great things for you to connect, for you to find some new friends. And hello from the Illustrator group. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yes, on time, Hazel. So Nick, today, because we are at a new time, we decided to celebrate. And what do we have for our friends, Nick? Do we have anything super special?
Like a little special gift or something?
Yeah, like a little special like gift. Like everybody loves free stuff, right?
Today was supposed to be kind of like a little bit of an overlook of what we've done, and we've compiled all of our hot takes, and we put them in a wallpaper, a poster, anything you want to do, and a whole series. Think of it as our first Nick and Andrew collaboration art. Let's just say it.
It's true. This is the first time that we've collabed on anything besides this show that we've been doing for like a year. But these are here. If you want them, you can download them. They are currently in our Discord. So if you hop on over into our Discord, you can find that. And again, our Discord is right there on the screen. You can go ahead and download those for your phone. If you want to remind yourself of some of the things we've talked about, give yourself some motivation. We have all of our top points and things that we love to come back to right here, there for you. Nick did his classic Nick Clean and Gorgeous, and I destroyed it and make it worse.
Can you tell who did what?
Yeah, just try to pick out the designer.
You know what's funny too? Yeah, this is like a great thing to kind of show off how different we are and the different perspectives we bring for sure. That was cool.
Oh yeah. And that's all what we're talking about today, actually. We're going to be talking about different perspectives. This entire semester, Nick and I have been giving you tons and tons of advice. If you went to boot camp, you saw our top 10 tips. We've been doing recaps. We've been lecturing you on here's what you should do. And Nick, what are we doing today?
Today we did a little brainstorm yesterday, and we were like, what if we showed that there's a different side to every one of these hot tips that we kind of brought up? And instead of going over them again and just recapping them, we thought, let's challenge ourselves and kind of flip the script. What would the other side of this advice look like? And that's what we're going to do with our top 10.
Yep, and a lot of
Buckle
times
up.
buckle up. Nick and I are going to fight the entire show. I've told you guys that a lot of times when you're in school or when you're learning or you're growing in a profession, a lot of people will tell you what to do, but it's up to you to decide what you do with that. So we've told you a ton
Yeah.
of stuff, and now we're going to play on the other side of all of what we've told you and show you the other alternatives. These are the suggestions that I would have against myself if I was taught that, the questions and the challenges that I would have, because again, in design and creativity, there is no right way. There are only different ways. So we're going to explain some different ways. It's just going to be really fun.
Yes.
As always, if you
Love
have
it.
questions or concerns or comments, put them in the chat and let us know. We'll answer those. We love stopping the show and answering your
Yes.
questions. So put anything you want in there. And yes, welcome to the other side. I do believe, actually, Nick, I think that today is Stranger Things Day, which is like the upside down day. I don't know why. So many people were posting on social media. I think that today is like upside down day.
Did it
so
come out
fits.
like on this day or something?
I think maybe.
What? Look
Maybe
at that. I was thinking Bizarro World because
Yes.
it's like the opposite, but let's go with the Stranger Things.
Let's go with
thing, 'cause
Stranger
it's
Things.
right
Why
after
not?
Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm down.
And let's go
Other
ahead
side.
and let's hop right in. Why not? So what I'm
All
going to
right.
be doing is I'm going to be taking the first 5, and I'm going to take some of the points that Nick has made in the past and just tell you that they're wrong, because that's how Nick communicates, in a wrong way. And by wrong, I mean different.
Different.
And so we're going to show you the other side, and I'm going to be showing a bunch of examples and designers for you to follow, for you to look into, that are actually going against what we've told you in a really great way. So first up, let's talk about our first suggestion, which is always to have strong case studies, right? Nick, what's this about? What's the way that we've taught that we should do it?
Yeah, we've been really kind of stressing the idea of building a case study, building a chapter, building a series of stuff from beginning to end that tell the story of a particular project. Where did we go wrong with that?
Yeah, so I think that on the other side, here's the other side of this that I think you could do. And yes, it is the day that Will Byers went missing on the show's first season of Stranger Things. So there we go, perfect, upside down day. So here's what you can do. Who cares about case studies? Don't write anything, don't have any headlines, don't hold my hand and walk me through it. Sometimes you just got to let the work speak for itself. And a great example of that is the way that Aaron Draplin has his work laid out on his website. So we all know Aaron Draplin, right? And it's just this amazing designer. We're like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. We have all this stuff. But check this out. There are no case studies here. Like literally, it's just, hey, here's the stuff I made. There's a little write-up every now and then, but mostly it's just like, cool, here's some cool stuff. Do you like it? It looks great. The work here speaks for itself. And so I think if you were going to go against what we've taught you and what we've told you about that idea of having the case study and telling a story and holding my hand, if you have the work that you can let it speak for yourself, you don't have to sell it, right? We've talked about this before. It's like proposing and her saying yes right at the beginning and then continuing to propose, right? If you can get that work that's so good, let it speak for itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I get jealous sometimes when I see stuff like this, because then it makes me realize too, maybe do you find what would be a good solution for the listeners? Like, because we want to have that full blown enriched case study thing, but maybe if you have that on your website, maybe Behance is a great way to maybe just do something as bold and different as this, right?
Yep.
Have it on another resource, have it on another platform.
Absolutely,
you know?
yes. And Jennifer Hood is in the
What
chat.
Is up, Jen?
What is up? If you guys missed it, Jen was on a little bit earlier this week on Design in the Dark, my other show that's on Monday and Tuesday. Took a challenge and created some stuff. And yes, Jen, I agree that he is the exception to the rule. Today, we are giving our best, worst advice. This is the opposite of everything that we've told everyone for the entire semester, giving the alternate perspective. And so instead of doing the great case studies and the walk-in, Jen, you're in this deck, actually. We're going to look at your work in literally a couple of slides, so just know that that's coming.
Excellent.
So the other side of that is, who needs case studies? Don't walk me through. Sometimes it just looks cool, right? Sometimes you don't have to sell me on this big idea that like, oh, I went through all this process, and here are my sketches, and here's the message I'm trying to communicate. Sometimes it just looks freaking cool. And so looking at, so Simon and Moose, this is our friend Simone Wilder, amazing illustrator and lettering artist. And here, not a lot of case studies, right? We're not seeing a lot of things that are typed out, a lot of explanation. This is stuff that just looks cool, right? We're not trying to like sell a client and say like, oh, we solved this problem by what, like, these just look freaking rad. And for that, sometimes you can forego this case study to make really awesome stuff. just look awesome, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just for the sake of making it cool.
Yeah, I think too, if you can abbreviate maybe a few things that are too big, test those out on your website. See if there's still engagement, if people still kind of gravitate. Got to remember too, we're communicating to non-designers. We're
Yep.
going to potential clients and job hunters. They might want a briefer version than what we're doing. So it's a tough one, right?
Absolutely.
Figuring
Yep.
out that kind of like that balance. Yeah.
Yep. There was a time that my portfolio was literally a GIF of 10 pieces that cycled through with 2 seconds on each piece, and that was what I would send to people. I'm just like, here's my work.
There you go.
There it is.
There's a confidence there.
Yes, I know. And it's funny because I say that, and then like the other office hours Andrew is like, oh my gosh, what is that? But then this office Andrew is like, yeah, go for it. If you're going to go for it, go for it.
There you go.
All right, Nick, our tip number 2 about diversifying work. What was the thing that you would always say about this?
I like this idea because let's say it's a tough market and you're looking for a job. Do you diversify your work to show hit for like a wider blanket, right? Like, are you making sure you're covering all your bases by showing a lot of diversity? Also too, like showcasing anything that could be informative or impactful based on current situations. Are you doing kind of work like that to kind of stand out above the rest?
Yeah, so here's the other side is don't do that. Don't try to be diverse. Don't try to do a bunch of different work. Literally just become a master of one thing. And my example for this is literally my favorite designer and maybe favorite person in the whole universe, our friend James White, Signal Noise. He has not had to diversify his portfolio in like the history of him creating. He has stuck so clearly to becoming an absolute master of this style that he's created. And he is expanding this beyond just print materials. He's doing toys, he's doing comics, but he's always staying true to this style that he's created. So he doesn't have to have a diverse portfolio to show that he can do everything, because he can do one thing so well. So if you can become a master of that one thing, then just do that. Someone else who does that is, Nick, do you know Hydro 74?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Hydro 74 is another great designer to follow who is so good and does a specific style and just kills it every single time. So this is
one thing I love about what James has done too is he's almost created not only this master of one thing, but he's doing things beyond just selling to other people and to clients and stuff like that. He's building his own kind of enriched community of stuff and great things that he can sell. He believes in this 100%. And I think he was one of the first people I saw that was putting themselves out there when I decided to change and go from full-time to starting my own company. And what an incredible kind of like, advocate we have for our industry.
Yep. And I like this. A lot of people that haven't seen some of his work, go follow these people.
Oh my gosh.
Write down the names and follow these people. I have a ton of examples for you. The next is we talk about having that diverse portfolio, showing like investing in nonprofits in different sectors and trying to like, have a betterment of society. Sometimes all that goes out the window and you just need to make a statement. And so this piece that I want to show off by our friend Alex Medina, incredible designer. Alex has created this piece, right? Just saying to vote, just literally like, hey, go vote, right? He's just making a statement and trying to push people to charge. It's not doing any of this diversifying of like, oh, I'm trying to like show that I have these values. You're just saying, hey, go vote, go do something. Sometimes the work that you put in there is just to make a statement, and that's totally fine. And yes, Hydro 74, thank you so much for dropping that link in there, Justin. All right, Nick, let's talk about process. And I believe, Jen, you're coming up in a couple slides, so stay tuned. I keep like thinking it's the next slide and I get excited. Nick,
this one kind of comes from the demand from what we hear from probably a lot of non-creatives. So anyone who's out there, headhunters, HR, right? When they're looking at the portfolio, they want to see that process. And I think a lot of times art directors and whatever are making sure that they ask for that up front. We've stressed it heavily. What's the alternative?
So the alternative to showing your process is make it seem like magic. Sometimes if you have an idea and you can execute it so well, and I love that people are doing this in chat. They're like, it seems like you used a halftone. Yeah, you didn't have to see a sketch for that because it seems like magic. You're like, how did Alex get this? And the designer that I want to highlight for that is none other freaking Kelly Anderson. Oh my gosh. So this Other Worlds piece that she did, every time I kind of get it, then I'm like, okay, like you animated and printed it, but I'm literally just staring at this thinking, how is this possible, right? This is one of those
Yeah.
things, I don't want to see a case study of this. Like, I don't want to see the process. I just want to
Just
take this
enjoy
in
it.
and think that
Yeah.
it's magic, right? And so,
Yeah.
yes, David, blame your portfolio. And yes, that is 100% what we want you to do. So sometimes you have to make it seem like magic, right? Don't give them the process of how they create things. And sometimes the process is not as exciting as the final product, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the process is just like, okay, cool, like, great, you like did X, Y, and Z. And then you look at the final, like, oh my gosh, what
Mhm.
happened there? Sometimes that happens, and that's
Yeah.
okay on the other side of creating all this process. If you can sell it like it's friggin' magic, right? We're doing like some prestige stuff where like we have a twin or like a clone. Literally make it magic. All right,
Love it.
self promo and branding.
Man, that's a good one, huh?
Yep. So this is what Nick has been teaching you the entire
Yeah.
semester. That's like the
Let's throw
equivalent of
this.
being like, look what your child did.
Let's throw this right out the window. This was doing your own work, doing something great, particularly if you weren't doing the work that you want to be doing down the road, right? So what's your dream client? What's your dream job? Start building and putting that together. And are you doing a promo piece? Are you doing a leave behind? What are you doing for that opportunity?
Yep.
What are we
And
going to do now?
yeah, this idea of like, oh, show who you are as a creative and like build this persona. What if, hold on, what if, let me get really close to the camera and the
Uh-oh.
mic. Let me just pull this up. What if you were just you? Um, what about that? Oh my gosh, what a crazy idea. And the person that I want to show for this, so look at this image, right? Try to guess who this is. Oh, actually, let's go full. Oh no, we can't go full screen. Try to guess who this is, right? This is a very famous designer, and you're like, oh my gosh, I recognize his work. It must be like Kelly Slater or somebody that works for Hurley. False. It's literally David Carson, right? The hero of the '90s and like this grungy type. His Instagram and his work and the way that he like lives his life and talks about stuff, he'll post work every now and then, but most of the time he's just like, hey, you guys like surfing? I freaking love surfing. And it's just like posting about surfing, right? That he's not trying to make this persona of like, I'm gritty and crazy and this type is insane. It's just like, cool, I like surfing and I also like make stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think he's a great example that you don't have to have this persona. You don't have to brand yourself. You can just be you, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
And then maybe we've pushed just far too much to find that kind of road that feels unique and individual and whatever. You already are, is
Yep.
kind of what you're saying.
Absolutely. And this is one that I love to actually tell clients. And
Yeah.
this is again on the other side of trying to like promote yourself and put the work and make yourself your dream client. Is don't try that hard. Like just don't
Yeah.
be like the person that's a super try hard. I've sent this phrase to clients before. Is I'll send them the work that I'm like, I don't know. Here's me and here's my work. If my vibe is your jam, then let's make some stuff. Like that's really the takeaway, that if you the way that you are is something that they're into, then things are going to work out. If
Yeah.
not, you can't work hard enough to sell yourself to push past if it's not just a reality, right? You just have to
Yeah.
have the right vibe, and sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it does. Don't try to like sell yourself. Man, it's like hurts my heart to say these things opposite of everything that we've said
I know.
this semester, but
It's killing me.
but it's true. Like it's so true that some people it totally works for, and sometimes you just have to go
Yeah.
for it. Like there are two sides to everything, and I love that we're addressing this so that it really is. There's no right way. All right, this
Exactly.
next one, 100%, I think is the one of the hoods,
So-
and I think it's a
So
great
glad you
example.
got this one, dude. I'm so glad you got this one.
Yes, Nick.
It worked out great when we split this up yesterday.
It's true, Nick. We talk a lot about flex on scale. This is something that
Oh.
I talk about a lot, and then I always make you
Yeah.
talk about. Can you tell us a little bit about what this point is?
It's all about showing you can maintain your quality and consistency throughout one discipline or something really amazing that you can do, and show it at that scale. Just brain dump this, show exactly what you have and make it a showcase.
Yep.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Let's not.
On the other side, here's what you can do is instead of flexing on scale, flex on skill. So flip it to the other side. And someone that really flexes well on skill is dun 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 dun. Our friends at Chutzpah Design. So when we talk about flexing on scale, we talk about doing one thing a whole bunch of times to show consistency in quality and like execution. I think the hoods can do that, but I also think they're the great example of flexing on skill and not scale. You never see the same project from them. It is always something that is different, that is so skillful, that it's all about the way that they've executed and the skill they put into it, instead of just building out something that's all these like crazy huge systems with a million examples, right? That this Lakers piece that we're going to look at here, right? It's a great piece. This didn't have to be like, this is an execution for shoes and shirts, and also we went a branded system with typography pairings and iconography. It's just a really rad poster, right? And so I think that there are a lot of times that instead of trying to flex on scale and show that you can do a ton of things, sometimes just show that you can do some things really, really freaking well. Oh my gosh.
That's a great flip. That's a really great flip. I love that idea.
Yep.
Just flexing on the skill is really all about.
Yes, and Jen, the check's in the mail. Yeah, I'll send you an invoice. Product placement, baby.
There you go.
And so with that flexing on skill, I think the showcase quality over quantity and be like the Postal Service. Nick, do you know who the Postal Service is? Not the government agency.
Oh, no.
Okay, so there's a band called the Postal Service, and it's Ben Gibbard, the lead singer of Death Cab for Cutie, and some other guy, which everyone's going to roast me for not knowing who it is. They basically made an album by sending things back and forth to each other. They put out one album, and it's like one of the greatest albums of all time, and then they're like, we're done, right? And so there are times that you can be like Postal Service and be like, here is literally the best project that you've ever seen. Yeah, that's all you get to see. That's going to sell you on the project. Like, I don't have to put an entire like portfolio
There's
together.
Our skill.
That's it. Like, here is the one project that you are going to pay me $50,000 to do something for you. Sometimes you have those projects and you can flex on the skill and basically say, I am so good that I don't need to show you anything else. I mean, it's definitely a top tier that you need to get to, but it is possible.
Perfect.
All right, Nick, I will take over, and now you can fight me. So number 6, y'all. Here's something. Here's something that
What did we say?
Here's something that I think is very important to your portfolio, and that is to include a biography in your portfolio. I want you to introduce yourself. I want there to be an artist statement. Tell us a little bit about who you are. And doing a photo a lot of times will help me help me understand who you are. I just updated my headshots. I'm in all black in a very dark room because it feels right for me. But Nick, what's wrong with that?
This one was a tough one for me because I'm such a believer in that. And I stress it particularly as teachers. We all know you're trying to give students the best advice when it comes to how are you self-branding? How are you putting your bios and your pictures together? There's a time when you can just say, be different, be something totally different, stand out. This idea of thinking differently, it feels like we're giving you two different ways of kind of approaching this. But if you hit to the next slide, if you're a little weird, work on it. If you're a little bit different, own it. Like, there's something unique about that. And you can look at anything of success in the past. Yep. And I was watching this thing that really kind of it was perfect timing about this particular statement, but it's okay to break the rules every now and then. And how do you do it, right? So like this next slide about staying on your own path and everything, why not change it up and do something a little bit different? What do you have to lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and someone that does this really, really freaking well is our friend Meg Lewis. So Meg Lewis is like, and I think that she would take this as a compliment, is so weird, but like in the best way. She is her own person, and totally just owns it, right? And it's something that like, that's part of the attraction to her brand and who she is it's not about like a buttoned up headshot, right? If you ever follow her on Instagram and see her stories, it's her like dancing in like a giant fur jacket, and she's just like whipping her hair around. She's like putting on lipstick all over her face. Like, it's not about having this buttoned up, like tight thing. Sometimes it's just like sell your personality and be who you are, and that's enough. And it's freaking awesome.
I've really admired that about when I see her stuff too, because it's like if you're on the safe side, you look at it, you think that's so risky, but it's like, my gosh, it's so authentic too. Like you know what I mean? I think that's what's really cool about it. But going to this next slide, there was the timing came when I saw this great article about the Maya principle, and it stands for most advanced yet acceptable. And this is a great formula to use for building brands and for putting art out there for commerce, whatever it is. But you can also think of this for yourself. If you design for the future, but balance it with the present, and all that means is the audience wants a bit of familiarity, but they also want a little bit of novelty and they want something new. So why not think of that when you're building your portfolio, building your bio, building your profile pic? Are you doing something a little bit different? So you're not just the carbon copy of everybody else right around you.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And I think that, do you feel like this is something that like comes naturally? Is it something that you have to like work for? Is it something, like what's your opinion of like how you develop this for some people, right, that are seeing this, are like, okay, cool, like I can be my own person. Do I just like do it? Do I need to like work on it? Do I need to make a chart? Like what does that look like, do you think? Again,
when we did a great conversation with a social media kind of person that was all out there doing very, very similar to your example was doing as well. Meg, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so she had this one thing because someone asked her specifically, I'm just too shy. I can't do this. I do have an idea of what I want to do and what I want to be. And she said one of the best things to do was literally, and it was the reason it was invented, but if you do something like on Instagram stories, which wipes away within 24 hours, it's a great testing spot to try that different thing and see if engagement does go up. I know a lot of us try that. That's to me like the testing ground, right? You put the Holy Grail, in the square, but the Instagram story is where you can get to try something. So do it, give it a shot, put it out there, see what the response is. You never ever know.
Yes, I treat it the same way, that my feed is more curated and it's like, cool, here's my work. And my stories are like me screaming into the unknown at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, cool. Like you get a little bit of my work and a little bit of professional, but then also you get a lot of bit of me, because I think that that's so important, again, to just show here's me, here's who I am, and here's what I'm about. And someone just asked a great question in chat. Will this presentation be available in the folders in the Creative Cloud? Guess what? It's there now. And by now, I mean that it is currently syncing to the Creative Cloud. And so if you want to go to the link right below me, we'll actually, let's go there together. So I'm going to go over here, bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours. That's not the right button. Right there. It's going to bring you over to the Creative Cloud folder, and from here you can navigate to all of the things that you need. So here we can get some promo assets for the shows that are coming up if you want to invite your friends. You also can see the syllabus in the first week, get some extra free fonts in there. Ooh, special stuff. You can check out where we're going in the class, which next week, Nick, we have a very special thing that we're doing next week. What are we doing next week? Do you know about what we're doing next? I love doing this. This is my favorite thing.
I know we looked at it, and now I can't even remember what next week is.
Yeah, so next week
it's something really cool.
It is. Next week we'll be doing a fun show. We'll be maybe bringing some of you on. So go ahead, and if you want to be included in office hours, right? We're going to try to have you guys ask questions, maybe do a little, bring some people on camera, do a little interview, have some fun. If you want to, you can join our Discord at the link right over here. Join that Discord, and in the fall semester, just let us know. Just post a comment and let us know, hey, I'd love to be a part of the episode next week, and we'll contact a couple of you and include you in the episode next week, which we're very, very excited for. We may have some prizes, we may do some fun games. It's going to be a great time. So in the Discord, post in there that you want to be a part of the show next week.
That would be awesome.
Yes, Nick, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
That's right.
That was it.
Yes, we just know. So this slide that I'm showing right here with the phone backgrounds, this was finished 3 seconds before we went live. Literally 3 seconds.
Exporting to screen while he was hitting the go live button.
Yes, we had them all done, and I thought, I want to show these guys how awesome these look on phones. And so we threw it together 3 seconds, and that's how we do it here on the show. We go quick and dirty and get it done and get you guys some great advice as we go through. So these are for you also in that Discord if you want to grab them. But check this out. Continuing on, we can check out right here on 11 6. Flipping the Script is now up there. It is on the server. You can check it out in our files using this link down here, bit.ly/AI Discord, and download that and follow along with us. Why not?
Yeah,
Open
why
it right
not?
now and follow along as we go.
That's perfect.
All right. As we go sounds like a really delicious cheese.
As we go.
Could I have a block of as we go, please? All right, cool. So let's hop back into actually the show. When did this start? Mallory, we're at 1 o'clock now. If you're just joining us, we usually are on at 2:30. We are at 1 o'clock now.
Don't give us any ideas,
merch.
Katrina.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, you know it's happening. Come on.
Yes. Pencils. Oh, I want to do office hours pencils. Oh, yes. That'd be so fun.
How about a lunchbox?
Okay, maybe for the last show, or of the last show of the year, we may do some giveaways of some merch. I'll finance it. I'll make it.
We're doing it.
We're gonna do a couple.
For you guys, anything. This would be amazing.
This is okay. Can we observe that it is exactly 1:30, halfway through our show? And I always say halfway through the show, chat starts to get real spicy and we start to get distracted and off the rails. It's happening. So let's just roll with that. If you guys have questions, if you guys have things that you've always wanted to know, put that in chat and we're happy to chase those rabbit trails as we go.
Let's do it.
We got a couple more points going here. So Nick, let's fight some more.
Yeah.
So talking about passion projects, Nick, I think that it's very important to include these in your portfolio. I think that passion projects are something that really showcase who you are, what you like to do, and if you don't have a client, you can just work for yourself and have work that is like, cool, I did this and I love it.
And let's face it, we all have plenty of time to add in to whatever we're doing on a daily basis.
Yes.
A passion project is right.
Oh yeah.
Here's my advice, or here's my statement. I don't have one right now, and that's perfectly fine. There's no passion project here. I'd like to say there's a lot of little things happening with great stuff that we get to deal with. This show's fantastic. I love what we get to do here. But for me right now, it's just one of those things where like there is maybe no time, but let's shift it. There's still things that you can show that you are passionate about. So let's remember, why did we say to put passion projects into your resumes, into your portfolios? We wanted it to show like the full rounded kind of, thing that you might be as a designer, going in for a job interview, talking to an HR person, you name it. But there are other things that are equally as important to show that maybe you're as passionate about. Show that you are excited about the work. If you could do that in an interview, in some kind of a conversation, you don't need the passion project. If you can show that you're determined, you finish, you oversee projects, you maybe work in a team, again, probably can substitute the fact that you don't have that passion project. And the number 3 thing here, and this is so important, guys, really highlight any super innovation that you've dropped into a project. If there's one cool little nugget that you are so proud of that you came up with, whatever, highlight that, really make that part of your conversation. And again, these are those little things that could maybe take the place of not having something that, especially those passion projects that we looked at and really admired. You agree?
Absolutely. I think that there are things that I get excited about that I've worked on for clients, or things that I'm like, cool, this isn't a passion project that I have right now. But if somebody's like, cool, what's like a passion project? What's something that you really care about in your work? I have something that's like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Right. And I am so, it just like bubbles out of me. And I always tell you guys, pitch it like you stole it. Like show people that this is the best thing that's ever been created because you care about it so much. Even if it's something that you're like, this isn't my best work. If you are excited about it, then it's something that you can really push and be like, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
Yeah, I noticed this the other night. I'm starting to bring in guest designers, and Andrew's going to be joining my class very soon, I hope. We'll get that going.
I'm ready.
So what was neat was I talked to my friend afterwards, and he said he realized he saw how each student presented, and he can really identify the ones that felt the most passionate just by the way they presented it. And it's night and day. I see it every day, but it was neat to see from a different perspective or someone new. So don't forget that if you're making that lasting impression based on what you're passionate about when you're presenting it, you don't need this passion project. So don't stress. Don't stress.
Absolutely. And this is a great question from Ariana. And again, keep those questions coming,
Yeah.
guys. We're going to have probably a little bit of time at the end of the show today to answer some questions. So just keep them coming now. We'll answer them as we go, or we'll kind of plug them in at the end. But here's a question from Ariana. Even though there's a time and place for breaking rules, is there a specific one that you should never break? Always wear your seatbelt. Yes.
Yeah. That's a good
Yes.
one. There's
I
a good
agree.
one. There's one here coming up that I could not find no flip side to.
Yep,
So
absolutely. On Wednesdays,
your
we wear
question.
pink. That's an important one too. I don't think I've been through an episode yet without making a Mean Girls reference. I think it lives in my soul and just comes out specifically on this stream. All right, so number 8.
We up to number 8.
Yes.
Tell us about number 8.
So we always tell you guys no skill indicators. You should be able to see how good you are in your work, not in a chart. Having a skill indicator is like a carpenter saying that he is proficient in hammer and he's 3 stars in saw.
Yes.
Nick, what's the other side to this?
Going back to Ariana's comment, I thought when I saw that I had this one, I'm like, there's no alternative. You can't put a chart in there. But how many times did we go back and realize the reason why people were putting the charts in there was to fill up maybe some vacant space on their resume or on their About Us page? So let's go to the next slide.
I do love that the point here is it's like a mom like calling you out on something, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, so like why should you have a bar graph? And it's like, okay, so the real problem here is not the bar graph. You're trying to fill a space. It feels like you're just trying to like put more on the page. And what can we do? What can we do instead of doing that space?
Exactly. So if you insist on this, and I get why you did it, right? Let's say you got a little extra space on there. Here's an alternative. Let's hit to the next one. Do something that adds up to 100%. Maybe it's more of a pie chart.
Yes.
Okay. Think of it that way. You're showing some weaknesses when you're. My favorite is the 20% at Acrobat. It's like, I'm sorry, you should be 100% at Acrobat.
Yes.
There's no learning curve.
Yeah.
But don't forget, if you're going to do something like this, I would love to go back again. What makes you stand out? What makes you passionate? What makes you a great hire? So to do it as something that like in totality equals 100%. Here's a great example. 60% creative, 10% persuasive, collaborative, adaptive, analytical, whatever it is that you feel makes up you. Show something like this maybe. That might be, I'll give you the seal of approval on this, but no bar graphs, nothing with the creative suite. That's a given. You should know it all.
Yep. And I agree that like I actually kind of disagree a little bit that if you wanted to do like I could do like a donut chart of this, that if you're in the middle and it's like here's how I function, like here's my creative process, 60% creativity, 10% persuasive, and if we have time at the end of the show, I'm just going to show you how to make one of those because it's something that like right, this is the complete opposite. We don't ever want this on our portfolios, but if you do and you want to do something like that, it's something that I see done wrong all the time. So if we have time at the end of the show, I'm just going to show you how to make one of those donut charts really quickly. Yes, Nick.
I love it. What if it's more of a, like, instead of this adding up to 100%, but what if it's a kind of a cycle of your process? Kind of similar to maybe what you're saying.
I love that.
You show that you know research and R&D, you do some discovery, you have your process and your kind of like exploration time, then you hone in. Put something like that in there. That would be, let's look at it this way. If no one else has ever seen that, you're the first person throwing it out there into the mix. So
that's true.
Trend starter.
I love that we're going to see an influx of portfolios with that, hopefully. Influencers.
I know. If only. Come on now.
Yes, I also love that I have my tiny hands on my desk. If you guys haven't seen in this show, I have little tiny hands, and I keep them on my desk, and I will fidget with them and then realize that I'm just holding tiny hands on the stream. So here are my tiny hands. I put them on for you. We had too much coffee this morning. We had a great question from our friend. Let me scroll up right here. Our friend Hazma. Something I'm struggling with as we think portfolios is finding my why, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm passionate, but about so many things. What advice do you have for them, Nick?
If we go the case study route, the why should be specifically geared towards what was the purpose or objective of that particular project. But it might sound like you have more, less case studies and more maybe single page things. Maybe clarify that for us if I'm getting that right. That might be tough. Then I would say your why would be what is driving you? What is driving you as a creative? Why did you pick this career? I mean, what would you say?
I think, and I've told this to you guys before, as creatives and as people that are producing, you need to figure out what you want to say and how you want to say it, right? And so that's literally just picking out adjectives. Figure out, what do I want to say with this project, with this portfolio? Maybe I want to say like, I'm a professional and I'm very good at this. And that kind of becomes your why. Why do we have this portfolio? How do you want to say it? Oh, I want to be big, bold, and brash, or I want to be professional and buttoned up. You need to kind of pair what your goal is with some adjectives that help you kind of focus that. So Hazma, literally like take out a piece of paper and write down, what's the thing that I'm trying to say with this project, with this portfolio, with whatever you're producing, and then how do you want to say that? How do you want it to be received and communicated? And that just gives you a benchmark to go back to say, oh, I did communicate it that way, or oh, it's not being received that way.
That might be also a good way to measure if something should be in or out of your portfolio.
Yes.
If you can't maybe come up with that thing that's really the driving force behind why you did it, what it means, maybe that might be something to eliminate, show it off somewhere else. But in your portfolio, that is really gaining you either exposure or some chance of getting a job or being hired. I think that's a great way to maybe ask if that should be in there or not. I think we all have it, right? Like you're not going to put pen to paper or push anything on pixels unless you are really trying to do something.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question, man. I hope that does.
And
I think that sounds.
Always, y'all give us more questions.
Yeah. He
All
said
right.
with UK, they're like short 1-2 pages. Sometimes there's space for a rundown of your skill set. So some kind of indication of skills levels encouraged. But okay. So yeah, so I would use that as, but go to skill sets of what you do. Is it packaging, photography, typography skills, whatever it is, something that's really that, not programs.
Yes, talk about what you're creating, not how you're creating it. That's what they're really focused on. They're focusing on what can you do for us, not how can you do for us.
Yes.
And so really sell the what you can do, because they just assume that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's really the takeaway. So continuing on, tip number 9, and we've got about 15 minutes here, so we're going to hit these last 2, and then we're going to have a little bit of time, 1, to show you how to make a nice little donut chart, and
Perfect.
2, to answer any questions that you have. I don't think we've ever designed on this show. Oh no, we did the design sprint. We did a whole episode. I'm new here.
Welcome.
He doesn't even go here. Oh man, that's Mean Girls reference too. All right. So tip number 9, leave your mark. And this is something that the viewer should be crystal clear with the idea of creative you are and who you aspire to be. Hazma, this is exactly what we were just talking about, right? That you should be able to walk away from interacting with a client or creating a project or a portfolio, and they should know exactly who you are as a creative. And the way to do this is to ask friends and family, how do you come across? How am I communicating? How am I being received? Because Nick, we've talked about this so many times. Perspective is reality, right? The way that people have a perception of you, how they perceive you, is the reality to them who you are.
It equals everything you value.
Yes, you need to be able to control that perception. Nick, how do you control that perception? Before we get into you fighting with me, how do you do it?
How do I have those golden rule kind of things that everything I put out has to replicate, has to show an example of. And it's 5 or 6 things that I always want to make sure are there. And that's, and if it's not there, then I build something stronger, or I put something out there that is in line with those things. Just very much similar to what you were saying about looking through Jen and Amy's work. Same idea, right? There is a common thread. It's not random. It's there for a reason,
Yes.
And I think that's kind of my backbone as far as what I try to do as well. I'm not successful with it 100%, but definitely it's a goal.
Yep. Yeah. In the same way, I like to have control that perception, and even hearing from friends and family like, oh, you're rambunctious and have so much fun. As someone told me once, they said, you do everything with reckless abandon. And I was like, that is the key to all of my work, all of my streaming, anything that I'm putting out there. That's the key. And so I run that through to try to maintain that perception that it's like, oh man, that's the thing, is I know that I have to go all in on everything that I do, or else the perception will change and then it won't be communicating the way that I want it. So that's all great, but Nick, why should we not do that?
Well, are we on our next slide?
We're on our next slide.
There's no substitute for this, guys.
You just gotta do it.
I can't figure something out to show the flip side. The fact that we are communicating that's what we do, right? So leaving a mark, making sure it's crystal clear, that is our job. If we're, I get if we're a fine artist and we are doing things that are completely objective to what we want to do and say, great. But you're still trying to put together some kind of a persona of who you are, why someone would come to you. But I can't figure out some flip side to this, because to me, it's what we should be doing best.
Yep.
I don't believe in confusing anybody. I've heard a lot of people talking in the last few weeks about this whole idea about like, you know, we as designers should not be, our presence and everything out there should not be geared towards impressing other designers. It should be out there to impress who we want to attract as either a client or a job or who is going to pay the bills, right? So that's how I see it. Be crystal clear as you can. I don't know. Do you see a flip side to this?
I think the only flip side that I could see to this is like, I think there are times, and I think I do this too, to where I have to like let go of controlling the perception, and I'm like, I'm just gonna disappear for a little while. Like it's exhausting for me to like try to maintain this perception and, you know, like keep it up that it's like, yeah, that I'm like, oh man, I have to like leave my mark on everything. Sometimes like just okay is okay, right? We've talked about scaling your process, and this is basically the idea that you can do anything in a day, anything well in a week, and anything great in a month, right? There are times that leaving your mark is literally like you doing like the LaCroix of you on a project, where you just like, there's an essence of you in the project, but like nothing else. It's just
it's Andrew Light.
Yes, Andrew Light. Yes, you get Andrew Light, and sometimes that's totally okay to do. You don't have to hit out of the park on every single thing that you do. So,
I love that. That's a great way to look at it. It's the scalability of this. Like, just make sure there's some essence of it, but again, it doesn't have to be the 100% every single time. Give yourself that break. Totally get it.
Yeah, I agree. So continuing on to our last point in chat, this is where we want those questions from you. We've got about 10 minutes left. It never ends. So here's the takeaway that was our last point as our top tip. And that is that it never ends. You have to improve and redo, re-render, never be satisfied with your portfolio, always be improving it. You can never settle for being like, oh, it's great, and I'm just going to settle there. You always have to be looking and revisiting. Nick, what's the other side of this?
I'm cringing at some of this advice we've given because we're not giving people a break. It's okay. It is okay. I love when people say, like, when they break down this whole, like, the hustle mentality. And what's funny is when I searched hustle earlier today to get some insight on this, the first thing that came up was the like debunking the hustle mentality, not how to be a hustler. That was, you know, last year. But let's look at perspective where we're at in current times. It's like every once in a while, yes, this will never end. Yes, you should always continue to get better. And there should be some upward mobility in your career, in your portfolio, in your presentation skills, and you name it. But that's not 100% of the time. If you give yourself the breaks, if you stop and kind of just chill for a while, you see a different perspective and you go back to it, and that allows you to make that shift upward. So to me, it's a big, big thing. I think taking care of yourself while you hustle is the rule that you should always follow. Trust me, I know it too, because like at certain points of my career where you're just driving and going crazy and it's like nonstop, you're spreading yourself way too thin. You're not performing at your optimum level all the time. In fact, you're probably like operating sometimes at the weakest levels, and you're not growing, and you could be irritable, and you might be mean to someone you're working with. Not worth it.
How dare you?
How dare you? This is my work.
It's from watching you.
This is your brain. This is your brain as a creative.
Yes. And I think that it's really important, yes, to take care of yourself, but I think before that, figure out how to take care of yourself. Figure out like what works for you, what's good for you. For me, I love to like go so freaking hard in the paint, and I will work myself into like an utter ditch. But then I know once I get close or hit that, I'm out for like 3 days. Like I'm going to go somewhere and just go hike, or like the other night I was really stressed about like a bunch of work and the election and all the stuff. And I literally turned on the new Taylor Swift album and I drove into the middle of the desert where they have like all these like big windmills. And I just like literally drove there for an hour and was just like, cool, windmills, darkness, stars. And then I drove back. that I'm like, cool, I just needed that moment to recoup,
Yeah.
to not think about streaming, work, projects, anything.
Get back to life.
Exactly.
Dude,
And I know that I love
exactly.
listening to music. I know that I love driving. And so when I need to, my taking care of myself, I'll just go for a drive and listen to music. Figure
Yeah.
out what works for you and then make sure that you incorporate that. Don't just be like, oh, I love this, and then set it on a shelf. Like, make sure that you're incorporating that in. I
Yeah.
actually have Nick talk for a second. I'm going to grab something right next to me.
No, I love that idea too. I think now more than ever is that chance where you should be getting back to the things that you did. Like,
Yes.
let the other things that are preoccupying our current world just fall aside for a second and do those things that you need to do. I find you always come back like just so supercharged, dude. Like, in fact, you come back with a vigor. You want to do, you might just burn yourself out. It's that whole mentality coming back to your screen a day later and being like, whoa, why didn't I see it this way? Because I took
absolutely. So I have right here, this is something that a friend gave me, beauty influencer thing right there. There we go. So this is a glass hourglass, and it's a 10-minute timer. The top is clear and the bottom is green. And so literally if I'm like at my desk and I'm stressed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do today, I can take it and I can flip it and I set it down on my desk. And then I have 10 minutes that I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna like chill out for a little while, like to do some breathing exercises, like hang out and not worry about it for just this amount of time. And it's helpful to have a visual so that it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go sit on my bed and just like not do anything for a while. Having a visual is really great that I can like look over and be like, oh cool, I have a little time left to like chill.
It's like it's a tangible one too. It's not a app on your phone or on your screen. It's this analog version, and I think that's like wonderful. I think maybe that could be our first merch.
Oh yeah, we'll do some hourglasses.
The office hours 10-minute timer.
Oh, the office hours glass. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good.
Love it.
Yes. Okay, cool.
So I think we finished off our rules, and
we did. We have a couple questions as well. Looks like we're gonna, and we got 5 minutes left. We always say that we need more questions and then we can't answer them all. So we had one from Ariana. I feel like you've talked about this before, but any tips on how to overcome creative block and fatigue when you can't necessarily take a break from work or a project? I guess we just talked about that kind of.
Oh, you know what? Look up some really great breathing exercises for creatives. If you can't get away from your desk and really take like a 30-minute or do like what we were talking about earlier, some of these breathing things that we brought in this expert to my class last semester. He did this one that in 10 minutes will not only recharge you, but literally the creativity just comes in and just, you won't believe the difference. It's more mental, but this one was actually more, the respiratory thing that it did was remarkable. So I would heavily suggest the breathing exercises.
Yep. One thing I love to do, so the San Diego Zoo has live cams of all of their cages.
Oh, there you go.
And so if I ever need like a distraction, it's better than like going to watch a YouTube video or whatever. You can just turn on the live stream and like watch penguins go swimming. And it's something that just like turns your brain off, because I think if you keep pounding your brain for creative ideas, eventually like it's dry. Right? It's like a sponge that if you keep twisting it, it becomes empty. You have to like dip it in something to like get that inspiration back in so that you can like twist it again and get more out of it. So that's what I love to do, is just find things that are outside of design that aren't in creativity and just try to like mentally decompress.
That's a great idea. Anything you can do as a quick visit away from whatever it is. And I get it too. Yeah. Sometimes you just don't have that hour or whatever to actually walk away. You're at your desk.
Yep. Giratima asks, any pointers on how to self-critique work if you don't have anyone around you for feedback? Ooh. I'm not even going to let you answer this, because here's the reality. You do have people around you.
Yes.
Because you're here in the chat, and you also can be here in the Discord. Right there. There is our link right there. There's so many people on that Discord that are willing to give you feedback and thoughts.
Oh my gosh. Totally.
Even in any of the daily creative challenges, there are feedback channels. Post in there and you can get feedback from people, and reach out to people in chat, send DMs to the designers that you love. Like literally there's so many designers that I've just sent an email or a tweet to that I'm like, hey, can you check me out and get feedback? And they'll totally give you feedback. Like literally just go for it. And the worst that they can do is say no or just not respond.
I think the thing there is there's just no substitute. As much as I've tried, there's no way to look at your stuff with a fresh eye. If you've been that into it and you've been in the weeds with it, that's a tough one. See, look at the Discord gang. They're kicking up. I love it. Yep. And make sure you got to tag us when you change your phone wallpaper to our hot takes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We want to
If
see
you
that.
guys are, if you
Please.
guys are on
Let's
Instagram,
make this thing go viral.
Yes, take a screenshot, show us your home screen. We like missed that trend. That was like a thing that just happened, but like we're still there.
Yeah.
Take a screenshot, show us your home screen or whatever with the background if you guys download it and want to use it. And it doesn't have to be a daily challenge. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, does it have to be the daily challenges? No, you can post for feedback anytime. I know that I run the daily challenges a lot, and you see me in there giving feedback on those. Maybe I'll do a feedback stream on my personal stream just for random stuff that you guys send me.
I bet you that would get a ton of response because it's not a daily challenge. It's something, it might catch someone's eye and go, what is this? So I would say, yeah, go ahead and post anything you're working on in there for sure.
Yep. And of course, Behance. Behance is literally like the best resource for posting your work, and literally post in there, add some tags of like in process or I'm working on this, and try to get people that will comment and give you some feedback on it. Like it's a really great place to tag and ask for feedback because there is an awesome creative community that can give you feedback. So make sure you post on your Behance profile, and people will hopefully interact with that, share it on social media, ask for feedback. And usually if you ask, you'll get it.
Yes. Yes, the wallpapers are in Discord, correct? That's where we drop.
They are in Discord. They are sitting pretty in the Discord right up here. So they are over here in the Office Hours Fall Semester tab right here. You can download all 3 of those and put them as your phone backgrounds. And that's where the Discord is. Someone said in chat, as a freelancer, so many years, Discord sounds helpful. Yes, it is very helpful. There are some awesome communities.
Scary
here.
In parentheses.
Scary?
It's a little overwhelming, but get in on it. I love seeing everybody's kind of contribution and conversation in there. It's fantastic.
Yep. And if you want to, I'm going to drop the wallpapers here at the bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours as well. If you'd like those, they will all be in there for you as well.
Might even just throw them in on the link tree.
Who knows?
Why not?
And Nick, it's that time for you to sign us out. Any closing thoughts for the show today?
This was so reflective, thinking totally the other way around our advice. I think it was an eye-opening thing even for myself to kind of go in there and challenge and figure out what would be different. How about you?
Yeah, I think that it is always interesting to kind of buck the system and try to see what we can go against and explore new things. So if you want to, make sure you head on over to our Discord. We are going to bring some of you either on the show next week or have some recordings of you on the show next week. So make sure that you post in there that you want to be a part of the show next week, and it'll be super helpful for us to continue to provide some awesome programming to you here on Office Hours. So with that, we will see you next week, I believe at 1 p.m., maybe another time. Who knows?
Cross your fingers.
We'll be here and follow on social media to check that out. So we will see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.